Y'all, it's getting weird.
It's getting weird.
Super jumps, skipping the meat room, vegan skip, another Coruscant skip that makes us see even less Bode. God, I miss him. Completely skipping Dagan. God, I miss him. A bunch of other little optimizations. But wait.
Check it out.
So where to start? A quick recap of the most basic speed tech in the game, which is buffering. By pressing F11 twice, you can toggle between windowed and full screen, which creates enough lag to clip through things like doors, walls, mountains, and it's the key to nearly all skips in the game. Console players can achieve this too by pausing, switching to options, then unpausing. So with clipping comes a myriad of skips and out-of-bounds tricks, but here are a few notable finds since that last video I put out. We can skip the walking intro of the game with help from the twins here. If you trigger this while lag buffering, you can actually fall off and die, which lets you run around freely through the intro.
The shop is closed. I have rights, you know. We're citizens. You can't treat us like this. Yeah? Says who?
Watch Karolinko go down.
Coruscant combat skip. Before, we had to take this water slide into a combat sequence that teaches us companion commands. Then we have to wait on an elevator, Bode pushes a billboard, and then you make your way to the mini-boss. Instead, just clip, idiot, through here I guess, saving around 40 seconds.
Bucketheads below. No going around them.
Then we go through them.
All ready when you are, Custis.
But by doing this, Cal never learns teamwork, so you just don't have the companion commands for the rest of the game. Meat room skip. During this little shortcut elevator, there's a loading hitch. One day I was trying to clip through the elevator during that loading hitch, and it worked, but it was super inconsistent. A runner named Ethel found a consistent setup that let you step out of bounds with a buffer and stay on the elevator, letting you jump onto some out of bounds and clip into the meat room, going over it. This skips where Cal learns Force Confuse, or doesn't remember Force Confuse. I don't know, he really doesn't remember a lot of abilities if you start skipping things. Super Nekko jump. When riding a Nekko, if you jump and then lag buffer at just the right moment during the jump squad animation, you get this super jump. It means you can jump straight out of the area where you tame the Nekko instead of running all around to get out.
I bet we can clear that gate with a little boost from our new friend.
All the way up to the point where we clip into Koboh Control Center, which is now much easier than the last skip, whatever this was. Now you just walk up to the wall, dismount, and lag buffer.
Thanks for the assist.
Getting into Koboh Control Center is what lets us unlock the final planet early. It was understood that Nekkos were required to perform this major sequence break, making the run as short as it is. And as it turns out, you can get to the Nekko pools very early.
Show me.
The area that the Nekko pools exits out of is just a water slide. This kind of terrain is traversed by riding a Nekko itself, so you're not supposed to be able to get up there early. But if you focus a target with a force power, it just lets you go up. Unfortunately, that's when we learned that the prompt to tame the Nekko doesn't actually appear until you tame the Relter. It's just hard-coded that way. Once you tame the Relter, you can tame any Nekko.
Situations.
So we just need to backtrack a little for the Relter. The Relter is right up there. This chasm became the bane of any percent runners. On New Game Plus, they can actually get across this chasm with some fancy abilities, because they can unlock everything early on. But on regular New Game, it's not possible yet. You could get up there with a sacrificial Nekko, but of course we can't tame the Nekko yet. There are these balloons you can use to get up there, but that's a grapple hook upgrade you get way later in the game on a different planet, so that's not useful. Or is it? Dagan skip. The community discovered 3 things that led to the Dagan skip. Balloon jump, Nekko warp, and Mantis clip. Silly words.
I've seen the galaxy, Centauri, and there are many worlds that the light of the Jedi does not reach.
Dagan Gera is a main story boss that includes an unskippable flashback scene to Tanalorr, the final planet of the game. Defeating Dagan is actually what causes Cal's ship to be moved from the crash site to the landing pad, which is what we need to fly to the end of the game. Even though this scene always plays when you leave the Nekko pools, if you don't kill Dagan, it'll just deload, leaving Bode and Grease floating there like they're on Wonder Woman's invisible jet. But thanks to a runner by the name Ruby, it turns out that this balloon that many of us tried to jump on before, they just did it better. And you can get down to the Nekko pools. We just had to get good, it turned out. So here's the Relter, and there's the Nekko pools. Instead of riding the Relter over here all the way through the forest array, going up the elevator, doing the Dagan thing, taking a zipline back and riding to the Nekko pools, you just balloon jump right here. But your ship is still broke down because you never defeated Dagan.
Completely fried. We won't be flying again without repairs.
At some point though, it was found that the Mantis still worked even while crashed, if you could just get inside somehow. That's when Nekko Warp was put to use. By trying to rest at the meditation pad and then mashing special attack and holding block, you can delay Cal from walking into the meditation pad. You can then call the Nekko towards you and get on it. Cal will still be trying to rest at the meditation pad, but if he's on the Nekko, he'll just warp straight to it and then you can fast travel with the Nekko. This allows us to bring a Nekko back to the crashed Mantis, which isn't normally possible. So by doing a super Nekko jump, jumping off, and then buffering again at the right moment, you can clip into the frame of the Mantis, clip inside, and put the coordinates into your crashed Mantis and fly to the final planet of the game.
Completely fried. We won't be flying again without repairs.
So that was a fucking lie.
At this point, the route was looking pretty solved. First, you'd go through Coruscant with a few key clips, including the meat room skip, the Ninth Sister boss skip, and even a cheeky jump off this lamppost. You could even go for this little interaction with the grate that launches you up a little bit and only saves a second or so. We got to a point where we skipped so much combat that we needed extra XP, but luckily, after you skip the Ninth Sister boss, you could just walk up and grab the XP. It's just sitting right here for the whole boss fight. Then once you get to Kobo, do a couple of stab launches, tame the Relter.
Situations.
Execute a pretty precise but doable balloon jump to skip Dagan, tame the Nekko and super jump your way to where you clip into the mountain to unlock the final planet, do a Nekko warp to the crashed Mantis, and clip in. Fly to Tanalorr, which is just a single boss fight with Bode, which now includes a way to skip a phase and break his AI. After the first phase, there's a moment where Cal flies through one of Marin's green tube things. If you lag buffer at a very specific point, Cal falls out of it and you can just wail on Bode for a while. Something about the programming here lets you skip the second phase, and Bode will also barely fight back. You gotta be careful though, because if you knock Bode off during the first phase, it'll just soft lock the game. And that's pretty much the game. No one ever found any other tricks and everyone lived happily ever after. A glitch that's both revered and reviled by Survivor runners. First you find a grate or a vine or sometimes a ledge that's level with the ground. The next step is more consistent with the slowdown accessibility option set to 30% or as low as possible. Then force push, start a short hop near the end of the push animation, and what results is a massive jolt backwards. During this jolt we activate slow mode, lag buffer anywhere from 1 to 4 times depending on your own system, and deactivate slow mode during or after your lag buffers, and then get yeeted into the stratosphere. You can also do shorter launches by just leaving slow mode on for a moment, which could be useful in some cases. And as long as the point where you launched from is at a lower elevation than where you landed, Cal won't die from falling too far. So in this case, launching from the high ground would not be wise. Unfortunately, these are extremely volatile. Your position, angle, and not to mention frame perfect timing for each of your buffers, as well as the moment you deactivate slow mode, are all factors that determine where you'll end up. and attacking in midair while launching can drastically alter your distance and momentum.
I need an espresso.
Once this was found, we went off to hunt for launches at different vine grates and ledges across the land, to find at least semi-consistent launches for the biggest time saves. Even now, it's like there's gold to be found in them mountains. But here are the most notable launches so far. From right after the tutorial, you can launch straight to right after Cal's crew tries to board the Senator's ship. This skips getting double-bladed lightsaber stance, learning companion abilities, force confusion, and the grapple hook. Normally Cal would just fall through the world, but in this specific case there's a loading trigger, which brings in the collision that Cal can land on. We still need to backtrack from here though to get the grapple hook to finish Coruscant, but this launch saves so much time that it's still worth doing. Unfortunately, the vegan skip and the combat skip are no longer needed. RIP. On Kobo, there are multiple spots that can skip a sizable chunk of the planet, and is the best spectacle moment in the whole run. And then there's some less useful launches. Before taming the Relter, before Dagan, there's a Giga Launch from this vine that can take you straight to Dagan's Bacta room. This takes you into the Tanalorr flashback sequence, but if you entered the way we did, the flashback won't put you back in Dagan's room at the end. It just leaves you there, in the past. Which turns out is on Kobo, under the dinosaur, the whole time. This area is not the real Tanalorr though. It's a copy-pasted version that the devs put down there so it'd be quicker to load in. It's lorded over by Ozma from FF9. But no, what that actually is, it's the clouded sphere that goes around the Mantis whenever you take off and go to another planet. So I guess this is where they leave that asset until they need it. We can run all around, we can even tell where the meditation pads would be because it makes our skill bar show up, but the actual triggers for cutscenes, characters, and meditation points aren't actually there. So unfortunately, you can't beat the game down here. But you can turn it into your own Star Wars creepypasta. There's this launch from Swindler's Wash, which is not too far into Kobo, where you can launch straight to the mountain that holds Kobo Control Center. We recall that we need the Nekko to clip into it usually, but by launching over the loading triggers and dropping straight on top of the area, we can walk into the mountain for free. Once we're in, simply find a trigger to load in the control center, and then proceed with the sequence break like normal. In theory, this would skip ever having to tame the Relter and Nekko altogether. The only problem is getting into the crashed Mantis with just Cal and no Nekko.
Did you think we had forgotten? Did you think we had forgiven?
Luckily, we can get on top of it with a launch from this little ledge, but once you're up there, there's really no way to clip in that we've found. Strangely enough though, if we view this flyby sequence, then some collision from the Mantis is removed and put at the landing pad, and then we can clip into it. But you know what makes this flyby happen? Taming the damn Relter.
Situations!
So unless we find a way to clip into the fortified Mantis, or find a way up to the Relter from the Nekko pools, then the route is pretty solid for now. There are two theoretical ways to get up there though. One is to do this ledge launch, though it's very difficult and possibly hardware related. And the other is to get a massive lunge launch off this rock and do a reverse balloon jump. This high of a launch though is like a unicorn. Only a few of us have ever gotten this high. A consistent setup for either of these would save multiple minutes, as it would skip going through the basalt forest and forest array. While making this video, Mr. Benuto got a massive world record run clocking in at 27 minutes 54 seconds. It's come a pretty long way since that last video. Link in the description. That's it for now. Also be sure to go check out the new Stream Archive channel, which will have all the Twitch and YouTube VODs that I do in the future. Jedi Survivor review is soon. The speedrun has really just taken all my interest lately since it's exciting to follow a new run and a new game with so much going on. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.